sorry, you guys, no sound. How's that? Dark and early. Welcome. It is dark and early here in Greater Vancouver. We have this, he's retired now, but there was the CBC radio announcer that was, he always used to say, I'll see you dark and early tomorrow morning. And I was thinking this morning, oh my goodness, it is dark and early and it is also raining. So it is like a typical Vancouver morning. So welcome everybody. It is October 5th and Kelly and I had a great time at Knit City this past weekend. She's here in the chat this morning. We met up on Saturday afternoon and then we went for dinner with friends, and that was lovely to meet a couple of her friends from Squamish. They are lovely people. We had a really great time at dinner, and then we went back for the knit night on Saturday night, and I was sort of wondering how I would feel. Like, it was a big group, everybody was wearing masks, and it was really, really good. I was glad that I stayed, and they did prizes. Kelly won a couple of things, I won something. It was really fun, and that was with the grocery girls. And then I obviously headed home, and then I ended up going back on Sunday morning with Kelly. There was a couple of things I wanted to look at. So I was going to get into spinning all the things this morning, and we were going to do some plying, which I think we should definitely do the plying. But I was wondering if you guys wanted to change things up a little bit, and if you wanted to see what I got at Knit City, because I don't usually do a stash acquisition. But I did actually get a couple of things that I'm really excited about, and I could share with you my new cast on that I'm knitting, because this week's show is actually going to be a pre-recorded. It's a premiere because we are going to be away. So, okay, so you guys are saying show the goodies. So let's do that. So, and then if we've got some time left over, we will talk about plying this wool silk blend, because I do actually have my wheel set up here to do that. So that would be really fun. Yeah, and then you guys can share the joy. And this won't be on the regular podcast because the reason why I don't like doing stash acquisition on the podcast is because I feel very fortunate to be able to purchase things throughout the year and to get things, and there's a lot of people out there that can't do that, and that I'm always just very aware of the fact that all of us have different levels of being able to purchase things, and I don't like just sitting here saying, and I bought this, and I bought this, especially if there's people out there that it's just completely out of their reach and they would never be able to do that. So I just feel like it's so pretentious, I guess. Anyways, I don't have a great voice this morning, so I'm sorry that you guys. Do you guys want to start with yarn or fiber? I didn't actually get a lot of fiber, but I can. The one fiber is quite exciting, as Kelly would say. She would agree with me, and she got some as well. So let's start with yarn. I actually bought some yarn this time around, and I never buy yarn, but I think a lot of it was because people have they've been really struggling, and it was really good to talk to people and find out how things have been going for the last couple of years. And a lot of the independent yarn shops said at the beginning they were able to, people were really purchasing and getting a lot of things and filling up their carts and getting yarn to knit while they were at home and whatnot, and then it just dropped right off. And so I ended up buying a little bit of yarn this time around, and I did buy most of the yarn that I bought, all of it except for this one skein, is all farm yarn, because well, you guys know how much I love farm yarn, but I saw this skein and I could not walk away. This is from Tofino Knit Company, and it's this just absolutely beautiful, it's called Falling Leaves, but it just screams pumpkin patch to me. And I actually have some Malabrigo in my stash that I had earmarked for something else, but I think I'm going to put these two things together, and I'm actually going to do a shawl, and I would like to cast it on this weekend for Thanksgiving, because it just screams to me fall, pumpkins, pumpkin patch, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I don't normally buy yarn. You guys know that. But yeah, I just saw this and I couldn't walk away. So this was in old stash. This Malabrigo, this brown, has been in my stash for, I think it's called chocolate chocolate aram, Amargo, chocolate Amargo, and I just thought they would probably be really good together. I also have these old skeins from Sweet Fiber, a local indie yarn company, and Melissa's colors. If you buy yarn and if you buy commercial yarn, Melissa's colors are really quite amazing. I did actually think that these three together were quite good. And I was like, I could cobble together a sweater, but honestly, I really want a shawl. I wear this cardigan a lot in the fall because it goes down to my calves. And I just thought, it just is my palette. So I might find, I found a shawl that uses 3 colors. I also found a shawl that uses 2 colors. So I'm going to ask Mike what he thinks and cast those on. So I'm going to take that with us on our trip this weekend, just for some like Halloween-y fall kind of knitting. So yeah, the both of those contrast colors work really well. Can you tell that these are my colors, you guys? Greens and browns and neutrals and all right. I got some farm yarn. So this is all from Disdero Ranch, which is in Barrier, British Columbia. They had moved to Tappan, British Columbia, which doesn't, for those who aren't from BC, it doesn't matter. But she has these 2 pieces, these 2 farms, and she leases the one out that she's not using. So Lori is just an amazing human being. And her animals were in Tappan, but with the forest fires and the drought and her barns and whatnot are better in Barrier. She moved her animals back to Barrier, which is just outside of Kamloops, British Columbia, for those who are looking at a map. And she had all of her yarns there. They're doing, what was it, Kelly? 32 colors now of different naturally colored farm yarn. So she's got everything from like these gorgeous cinnamon colors from her alpaca to these grays from her mohair and her Romney to these warm browns from her CVM Rommeldales and her Corriedales. And then she's got these gorgeous white Corriedales. And I have about 4 sweaters that I really want to make that I just can't spin all of the yarn. You guys know that. You just can't get all of the yarn spun. And they've been sweaters that I've been wanting to make for a long time. So the one is Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry, and the other one is Little Love by Anka's Trick. And so what I ended up doing was Lori very kindly, very generously, unbelievably generously gave me some yarn to knit with, to give her some feedback and to tell her what I think of the yarn. And then I ended up purchasing a sweater's quantity as well. So this is what she calls this is Mocha. So she MOCO, and I'll tell you why that is spelled that way in a second. But this is a just like a natural cream, but there's gray in here from the mohair. So it's a fingering weight. This is for Wool and Honey. So she calls this Mocha, M-O-C-O, because it's a mohair Corriedale. So M-O for the mohair, C-O for the Corriedale. Mohair Corriedale blend of yarn. And this one is, I have the tag. They're quite high percentages. So the Mocha this is called Cream Latte Mist, and it's a 50-50 Corrie mohair blend, 50-50. So I'm actually really excited to knit with this and to see what it's like, because it'll be really, really interesting to see with a 50% mohair yarn. You can see there's that halo there, but it'll be really interesting to see what this does and how this acts. So I purchased this one, and the yardage is unbelievable. It's 400 yards for 4 ounces. And so I bought 4 because that's how much I need for the Wool and Honey. It's a very, very yarn hog sweater. It just takes an incredible amount of yarn. And it's because you're doing smocking stitch. It's the one that has the honeycombs all over it. So that's that. And then the other one is what she calls the Kopaka. And this is the camel color. And I have 2 of these. And this is the one that she asked for feedback on. And it's this, I'm going to hold it back because you can really see the color back here. It's this gorgeous caramelly brown gray color. And this is 80/20 Corriedale alpaca. So this is 80% Corriedale, 20% alpaca, and it's just gorgeous. I'm excited to see the drape on this one. This one is quite soft. The other one is I wouldn't call it soft per se, but it's not toothy. It's a really lovely yarn. So this one, you can see the twist angle on it. It's just beautiful. It's registering with a little bit of purple from the lights, but it's actually a gorgeous gray brown. And this again is a fingering, and this is for My Little Love by Anka's Trick. So that's that. And then I'm actually not sure. I have to keep the tags with them because if I don't keep the tags with them, I will lose them. The yardage on this is the equivalent of 2 skeins. It's 710 yards for 7 ounces. So there's 2 of them here, and that's going to be for Little Love. And I think what I'll do is, that is a top down. It's a contiguous construction. I'm going to knit until I run, my water bottle's still in the bag. I'm going to run until I run out of yarn. So after I divide for the sleeves and the body, I want to do the sleeves right away, and then I'll be able to knit until I run out. So that'll be perfect. Let's do fiber next. I got some tapestry warp. So this is just regular tapestry loom warping thread. I'm going to start playing around with my little frame loom that I have. And you know what I can't find, Kelly? I can't find my necklace that I got. I bought this absolutely beautiful necklace. It's stitch markers. It's wearable jewelry, and I can't find it. So I'm wondering if I left it in my backpack. So if I don't find it, I'll post a photo of it later because they are absolutely gorgeous. Like it's beautiful. This from West Coast Color. This is Polworth in silk. It is totally my colors. I don't normally buy comb top anymore because I have so much of it. I'm sure you guys are drowning in comb top as well. But are both the Disdero yarns in 200 gram hanks? Yes. The white one, the mocha is 200 grams, and the other one is 7 ounces, so whatever that is. Yeah, so this is Polworth in silk. You can see it's just beautifully dyed. Lynn does such a beautiful job, and this is just to play with. I was really excited about that. And then I ended up buying more yarn. So this is stuff that I have kind of been eyeing for a really super long, well, I have been eyeing for a really super long time. I almost bought it during the pandemic, right at the beginning. And the reason why I didn't buy it is because I didn't have a specific sweater that I wanted to spin, that I wanted to knit for. This is Lynn's yarn. It's processed at Custom Woolen Mills, but the yarn, I'll let you guys read the tag here. It is grown in Langley, 100% Langley wool. It is a CVM Merino Romney cross, and it's from Casa Embra. That is my friend Anne's farm. So it's my friend Anne. It's Anne Embra. She's on our guild executive. I've known her for about 7 or 8 years now. And this is her yarn. So she had given Lynn a bunch of the clip, most of the clip, because she couldn't keep up with all of the processing herself and doing it herself. And Lynn had all of this yarn made, and it's a worsted weight, so it's pushing it with my hands. It's not as soft as Lynn's clip and as Lynn's yarn, because hers are higher percentage of CVM, not as high as the Romney, but this kind of creamy gray color, because it's creamy. It's hard to explain because it's got the creamy undertones, but it's also got the gray heathering through it. So I ended up purchasing 4 of these, and because I had a specific sweater in mind. So I had my Saxony here to be able to, oh, I'm not even going to bother trying to move things around. I'll just try and show you my knitting. I've already cast it on because I knew exactly what I wanted to make this time around. So I knew exactly how much yarn I needed. And this is the Cat Bells cardigan by Pip and Pin. and the needles are going around. And I saw this at the show. It was one of the samples, and she was wearing it on the first day, on the Saturday, and then I think she got too warm and she hung it up. And I saw it, and it was in this color, and I just was like, I have to have one. And the funny thing is, Lynn saw it at exactly the same time, and she was like, oh, that sweater. And I had already gone over and was trying it on. And so she came over, she bought the pattern as well. And she also bought the pullover version of it as well. There's a pullover of this pattern. And then there's the cardigan, and the cardigan is super long. It goes down to your knees. And so I had to buy enough yarn to do that. Like the part of the sort of sweetness of that cardigan is the length. So anyways, I've already cast on. You cast on at the back neck back here, and you knit down for your yoke. And this is all garter, so it stretches, right? Like it's gonna grow. And then you turn it around and pick up the front and start to work your way down. So I'm gonna work on this, and when I get it connected, I'll take a photo of it on my dress form so that you guys can see what it looks like. But the yarn to work with is so lovely, and it's well twisted. It's not splitting like some of the commercial yarns I've been working with lately. And it's just got a lovely woolly hand. This to me is like working with the best of both worlds between hand spun and commercial. It feels like hand spun, but you don't have to spend that time at the wheel. So really, really happy with that. Now in one of the booths, this is just completely silly. This is for Nora for Christmas. There was this toque sitting there, and it was out of this commercial yarn, and these little skeins were cheap. It's just this Wool Love Addicts. It's Lang yarns. It's a 92% wool and 8% nylon. It's one of those woven yarns, you know, that you can get. And the toque sample in the booth was 2x2 striping of this with this. And I just thought, Nora. So I bought it. And what you do is, this is lace weight, and you actually hold it with the pink yarn for those two stripes. So I've been working on this at work. I came off nights yesterday morning because I went in on Sunday night for a night shift, and I just cast on. I used my wraps per inch toque that I had released a number of years ago, and to get the number of stitches that I needed to cast on. And I've just started it, and I'm gonna give it to Nora. I saw it, and I just was like, oh my God, once you guys see it knit up, you'll be like, I get it. It's hard to kind of envision it when you see it like this, and you're like, really, Rachel? Like, you work with this? What? It kind of just doesn't match. Yeah, when you see it knit up, you'll get it. And then Lynn had, and this is where Kelly gets in there. Lynn had a couple of her fleeces with her, and her goal was to not go home with them. So Kelly got some of this as well. It is very stinky. These boys they're very hormonal. This is a Rommeldale fleece, and it's from one of her prize boys. It is absolutely beautiful. This is a pound. I can't remember, Kelly. Yes, Dorothy, that's exactly what we're doing. I asked them what they wanted to do, and that's what they wanted to do. So blame everybody else in the chat. This is, I think she said that I would lose about 30 or 40% in the washing because of the lanolin and the dirt, although it's pretty clean. But look at that crimp. It's just unbelievable. This is one of her boys, and this is, it's Rommeldale because it's red, so it's a reddy brown. It's just absolutely beautiful, and I have an entire pound of it. I asked her what she would do with it. Would she card it? Would she comb it? Because some of these staples are really, really long, like down here. And I was going through it after I got home just to make sure there's no bugs in it, or just to make sure that it was really super clean before, because I can't deal with it before we go away. And I said to her, like, would you card it? Would you comb it? She said she would card it, and that she would do it on a fine carder or on with cotton cards. And, you know, I think a lot of that, like, look at that length. Like, these are longer than my finger. And she said the reason is because it's fine, but it's just, it's going to be a bouncy, springy, really springy yarn. So I think what we'll do is when I get back from our trip, I need to get this washed right away. So I think what we'll do is through the month of November and probably into December, it's just a small amount of fleece. I don't want it to sit like my Cormo did. So we're going to work on this show throughout the rest of the year and kind of focus on it and work our way through it. And I can't take you through the actual washing process, but we can definitely talk through that process. And we'll work through some sampling of it. We'll try some combing on some mini combs. We'll try some carding with some cotton cards, and we'll just kind of work our way through. And then the last thing I know, and Kelly was a good, bad, awesome influence on me as well. So we definitely, and Kelly got 2 pounds of that, so which is fantastic. I haven't created a Ravelry project page yet, Zan, but the pattern is called the Cat Bells cardigan, and it is by Pip and Pin. And actually, I don't have a Ravelry page for it yet, but I was just on it last night, so I'll link it now in the live chat for you so that you can see it. It's a really cool cardigan, and there was actually, I saw a couple of people at the show wearing it, and there's also a pullover as well. So this is the pullover, this is the cardigan, and then this is the pullover. And I have to say, after knitting the cardigan, I kind of want to make the pullover. So Rommeldale is Rommeldale is CVM. So what they're mostly, I think according to Liz, they're mostly referring to CVM is kind of all the CVM Rommeldales now. Like they're the same sheep. So I think they used to kind of be, they would differentiate between the colored and the uncolored, and the colored were the Rommeldales. I think. I hope I'm getting that correct. Diane, I'm not sure if you've done it for the Shave 'em to Save 'em yet, and if you can chime in on make so that I'm accurate. But basically, she's still calling them her CVMs and her Rommeldales, and I think part of that is just because of the differentiation between the two. Rommeldale, where are they? Rommeldale and CVM. Okay, so Rommeldale and CVM were for a while considered two separate breeds, but now the CVM is being managed as a specific colored wool strain of Rommeldale. So there you go. I had it backwards. So the CVMs are the colored, and the Rommeldales are the other ones. It says here colored, so I wonder if Lynn is just calling all of her CVMs and Rommeldales, if she just calls them all Rommeldales, because that's the color of them. They're just absolutely beautiful. Cross between Romney and Rambouillet, developed in California, and actually they're really, really common here in British Columbia. They do very, very well. So I did start at Eve. Yeah, it's the new time. The last thing I got, because I really wanted to support Anna Hunter of Long Way Homestead, but I didn't want to buy any more yarn, and she didn't have any fiber with her, was I got one of her t-shirts. She had hats as well, and I kind of wanted one, but I was feeling very lush at that point, so I didn't get one. But I love this. Support your local fiber farmer. So she let me take it into the bathroom and try it on. They're really long, which I love. So I'm excited to wear this and to rock it. So I did get one more thing, and it was the necklace, but I can't find it, and it must be still in my backpack. So I'm just really hoping that it's there, because I took it out and I remember having it in my hand and it's not here. So I will take a photo of it later when I find it. Oh, there it is. I know where it is. This is from a new jewelry designer called Ocean Loops Studio. She is based in Calgary, actually, of all places. So I kind of had to laugh when her name was Ocean Loops, and she lives in Calgary, because for those who know Canada, Calgary is in the middle of the prairies. There's no ocean, but I saw this and I just was like, oh my goodness. So these are stitch markers on this pendant here that holds them, and then there's all of these different stitch markers. So there's the pine cone. Sorry, I'll put it in front of my face. The shell, piece of sea glass and a pearl on a rose gold chain. So yeah, I felt it was a little bit expensive, but I saw it and I just was like, oh. So yeah, we do. You're right, Eve. We are supposed to spell it the British way, but I have found more and more that people are using the American spelling for stuff, because James was spelling honor the other day, and his teacher had told him Honor, and of course traditionally we would have spelled it Honour. So I asked her about it, and she said, you know what, I totally blanked. She's like, you're absolutely right. So oh, that's a great idea, Kelly. So talk to Kelly talk to Anna at the show to check out the fiber subscription that will be going on next year. Plan to sign up. That's wonderful. Yeah, her and I were talking about drought and how it's affected the sheep and whatnot. And we were talking about the most recent shipment that was the Targhee. If anybody's a part of it and they got the email about the VM and the Targhee, we got into this whole conversation about drought and VM and how the sheep cope. And yeah, it was really, really, really interesting. Did you explain about that Rommeldale's Romney? Yes, I did, Diane. Thank you. I did. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's one of those really important things. So let's do some really quick plying. So I am going to ply these two together. I'm going to do a little sample. These are both quite high twist singles. So we're expecting and we want quite a high twist ply. So I'm going to pivot here for just a sec, and I'll just check that my cameras are working. And I'm going to put these on the Lazy Kate behind me. Now, for the plying, I prefer really, really super high twist. Like I want a lot of twist to go into this yarn, and I want it to go in a relatively quick fashion, because I don't want to be sitting there plying forever and ever and ever. And otherwise you're just treadling and treadling and treadling and treadling and treadling. And so as you're becoming a better spinner and as you're looking at different things and you're thinking about getting wheels and all of those fun things over time, not right away, over time, do think about what you want to do with your treadling for plying, because sometimes it can feel like you're just not making any progress and that you're sort of just needing a little bit more in terms of speed to get going. So I just realized that I didn't actually get this threaded. I put my new brake band on this wheel, and it's funny because now this doesn't pop up like I'm used to. I had gotten so used to the head being up really super high that I've actually had to turn my wheel a bit to bring it up. It's been kind of an interesting problem to have, but I also realized that I pushed that brake band way too long, and I should have replaced it quite a bit sooner than I did. So note to self and note to anybody who has a wheel, when you start seeing any little cracks and you're starting to make compensations for your spinning, do replace your drive band. Okay, so I am on the fastest ratio here for applying so that I can get lots of twist into this yarn relatively quickly. And I'll just turn this a little bit so that you guys can see. I might have to move out a little bit so that you guys can see. Sometimes it's hard to know where to put the cameras. All right. So as I'm plying, what I'm looking for with this yarn is that it's popping up and looking like pearls. So as you're plying and you're adding in lots and lots and lots of twist, I want this to really look like pearls. When I not when you're holding it taut, because when you're holding it taut, it pulls the yarn out. But when you kind of let go of it, you see how I'm getting that beautiful cabled yarn there? It's just popping right back into a beautiful cable. This yarn, actually, I have to say, this yarn would be unbelievable cabled. It would just be absolutely perfect. I'm looking for sort of these sort of pearl-like bumps on the surface of the yarn. And if you were to cable this, I would even put in a little bit more twist so that when it pops back into the cable, it's really, really super firm. I wasn't planning on cabling this, but man, it's tempting, let me tell you. And I'm just really watching the surface of the yarn and making sure that it's popping into those little purl bumps. Because the thing is that what often ends up happening with these yarns is that as we're plying, we think that we've got enough ply twist into them, but they don't have that purl look to them, and they don't have those almost like little, they almost look like little circles instead of being strands of yarn. And the thing is that when you go to wash and finish these yarns, they are going to lose twist in the plying, in the washing process, and you're going to end up with a yarn that is under twisted. The silk doesn't have scales, right? So it needs quite a bit of twist. Yeah, Wendy says, I do like the e-spinner for plying. It saves a lot of treadling. That's exactly it, Wendy. Now, if I were going to do a cable yarn, what I often do is I put in my twist like this, let it onto the wheel, do it again. And I start to count my treadles. And then I pull it back out and I let it go back on itself, and I see, does it pop into the cable right away? And if so, then I know that I'm putting enough twist in. So that was 3 treadles. It's a lot of twist to do a cable yarn, you guys. And I just take my time. Because the thing is, if you go too fast, you're going to end up with an underspun yarn. So I've gone more than 3, but I'm going to pull it back out and see what my ply back looks like. And sure enough, it's popping into the cable really easily. Look at how twisty it is. And look at my singles. They've been resting for over a week. And they're coming off the bobbin behind me, and they're still very active back here. I'm trying to get my hand out of the way. See how active they still are? Nope, you can't see that at all. No, Rachel, you can't see. Hang on, let me fix it. See how active they are? These are my singles still, and they're still really active. Oh, Laura's doing another cable yarn. But I really like knitting with them. Yeah, see, they're a lot of work, but yeah, to knit with them, it's just fantastic. So let me zoom out a little bit, and you guys can kind of see the mechanics of what it looks like as I'm just sitting here at the wheel. Because we don't talk a lot about plying, but the thing is, it's like really, really important. So 1, 2, 3, on. And you can see I'm treadling twice as I'm winding on. So it's getting about 5 twists for everything, all of the twists that I'm putting in. It's a lot of twist. All right, are you plying the metal and the clip? So I am, Dorothy, yeah. Yeah, I have a plan, so I'm going to see about that plan and see how it works out. Would plying through the rings help with the twist? It would, Sam. I just can't set up the plying through the rings here in this part of the house. But the twist in this that's coming off the singles, off of the bobbins, is not bad at all because it's been sitting for 2 weeks. If I was going to be plying this like right away, I would definitely do through the rings. I just can't set it up here in this room. If I'm going to ply through the rings, I actually will go over to the other part of the house and I'll ply over there because there's a door, and I can put something up on the back of the door and I can ply through that. I can show you guys my setup one day if you guys are curious about that. This is the 50/50 wool silk. That was the 50/50 wool silk. So the mulberry is here. So we'll do that next time because we wanted to talk about Knit City. I have to say, one of the things about being at Knit City was seeing everybody. Like, it's been so long since I've seen quite a few people that were there, and just to be able to visit for a few minutes and to talk to them and get the highlights was really fantastic. I think we all often underestimate how important that is. The benefits of plying through the rings, Dorothy. Kim has written quite a few articles. There's one in Ply magazine. I will try to figure out which episode it is in, and I will redirect you there. A lot of it is just evening out the twist. And some people really love it, and some people find it's a lot of work for not a lot of benefit for them for their yarns. It would help you even it out. Thank you. I rewind through the rings and then just ply normal, so I get the benefits of the rings but don't have to ply in the rings. Yeah, that's a great idea, Laura, actually. I don't know, actually, Dana. I don't know if I'm going to ply these two together. I'm going to see how the wool silk goes and what it looks like when it's finished and decide from there. I'm not totally sure. You guys are having a whole conversation too about the ZSZ. If I cable this yarn, it'll end up being spun ZSZ, just like what Laura said. You got to put a crap ton of twist into them, totally, Laura. I would prefer that it was SZS because I tend to untwist my cabled yarns. So if I make cabled yarns, I like to plan them so that I spin it, so that I finish with the cabling in the right direction. So, yeah. Oh, Zan, the plying through the rings is it's a method that was developed by my friend Kim McKenna. It's on the School of Sweet Georgia. If you are on there, she's done a workshop and included the plying through the rings. There was also an article in Ply magazine about plying through the rings. Yeah, it's kind of it's a technique that she likes to use to even out the twist in her singles. You do notice a difference in your yarns, but we're talking about like real minutia, like big time minutia. So if you don't want to kind of get that deep into exploring the differences in all of your different yarns just yet, yeah, you can kind of table that one for now. You're lucky, Sam. She's a thrower, so she won't untwist it. I'm a picker, so I untwist it. It's really too bad. This has sparked lots of conversation today, so I'm really glad, you guys. That's really wonderful. I hope that you have a really great rest of your week. For my Canadian friends who are in the crowd, like Kelly, and I'm trying to figure out who else is here that's Canadian, happy Thanksgiving this weekend. I hope you have a really great long weekend. And for everybody else, there is a premiere on Saturday because it is Thanksgiving and we will be in the bush, but I will be there. I am planning to be there in the premiere and in the chat, so please ask questions as the show is going on because I will be available. It'll be really fun to be on the other side of the camera again. And it's good to have you back, Diane. She said she missed everybody. And I think there's a book club coming up on Friday that I was really hoping to be at, but I'm not sure that I'll be able to. So I'll have to talk to Mike about that, because we are continuing our conversation about caste, which I cannot put down. That book is amazing. I was listening to it last night. It's unusual that I listen to books in the evening because I want to talk to Mike and catch up with the kids and stuff. And I was like, I have to listen. I'm really enjoying it. So the show, oh, Eve, I'll fix it as soon as I'll update the links as soon as we're done. Yeah. Publish your Thanksgiving recipes in the recipes channel. Yes, Laura, I should share my favorite green beans. It's one of the side dishes that we do at Thanksgiving. It is so good. I'll see if I can find a copy of that and I'll post it, even if it's a photograph of the actual recipe. So we never ran the intro credits today, but that's totally fine. We'll do the end credits now. So have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Thank you for listening to me wax poetic about Knit City. And we'll do the mulberry next time. And then in November and December, we'll get into processing that Romeldale fleece. So that'll be something to really look forward to. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. Bye, everyone.